What?
गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट. गना शॉट में अब सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to talk about the Chinese dream, which is in the knockout zone. And who's knocking it out? Good old friend Z. Why? It's been a long time since I spoke about China and what's going on internally, and we need to keep a pulse on that. A lot of things are happening in China which we don't believe, right? And that's what we need to understand. Uh, I'll put a few things across, and I do hope viewers from Bangladesh and Pakistan join in. They should know the reality of their good friends, right? What's the future? Because I'm not going to say what India's future is going to be, because they'll not believe it. But definitely, they need to understand what China's future is going to be, and that I am pretty clear, right? So let's have a go at it. You know, This is the first thing which I want to put across to all of you, and why you should subscribe to the channel and you should press the like button on this channel. Okay. Uh, First, let me talk of that, and then I'll get into the details of all this. Now, the first thing is, I saw this message on YouTube, not YouTube, Twitter to me. They said, look, this is the Times of India thing. Someone said, sir, your conclusions on Chinese aging population coming out true. Congratulations. Um, well, this is the thing which came out in Times of India, which says that preschools are turning into nursing home. Retirement age has been raised. China's demographic crisis is exploding. Well, I said this year and a half back. At that time, many of you would have thought, look, this old man is dreaming. He's having his China dream, while Xi Jinping is having his China dream. Right? I quite go with it. But now things are happening. Everything which I had forecast 4 years back about China, when I first started coming on the YouTube, is coming true. Not a single thing has gone astray. Right? I predicted two paths for China, one where it is going down, one where it is going up. Okay. And these paths have crossed. Okay. And they've crossed irrevocably. And where China will go, we'll see. But then let's get the pulse of where China is today. Okay. This is very important. This is a very, 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 very important article which came out in South China Morning Post. For those of you who are from Bangladesh, I must tell you this at the outset, that my analysis is not based on Daily Star or Karachi News or Times of India or things like that. My analysis is based on Chinese news and Chinese portals. So have a look at it and understand where you're going. Okay. So this article is very important. The way I looked at it, he says, where now for China after economy lost momentum across the board in August. This people are now saying is a hammer which has fallen on them already. And this article, first let me go through the article and then I'll get into that. This article talks of household spending remains cautious as retail growth dips. Okay, property investment continues to drag. Fixed asset investment growth fails to lowest level this year. Okay, industrial output growth has stalled. Okay, urban unemployment has raised up. That's important. Urban unemployment, credit, bank loan growth, everything is stalled or slows. And most important, the last point, China is set to undershoot the GDP projections. They had said around 5%, and till about 3 months back, this, oh, we are okay, we're fine, yeah, oh, but it's not so fine because the August data is pretty bad, right? And you look at these graphs, and these graphs are from this article, okay? You see the 6 points in this article, and you'll understand where China's economy is heading. And let me put this in, yeah, closer. Right, this is the monthly retail sales. You just see it's just dipping. It's almost hitting zero, right? Yeah, during COVID it did go down, but after COVID it recovered and then it yo-yoed. Now it's settling absolutely flat. Okay. And then you look at the investment in property. Investment in property has gone absolutely down. And mind you, we always said that property is 30% of China's economy. It's sick. That I said 2 3 years back. Now it's gone terminal. No one is investing in property there. People can't sell their property. People are not interested in buying. It's a very funny situation. Okay, I'll unfold things as they go along. It's a kaleidoscope, and you take a call after that. What I put across where China is, I'm very clear where China is. Okay, then you look at the urban unemployment rate. This is spiking up. It's gone down. They tried something went down. Then they, jacked up this new productive forces, got into EV business. Some people got jobs. Now again, it's going back. It's just not getting under control. More spikes than dips, and every spike, every has followed by a dip. Okay, and the dip is not so steep as the spike. That means more unemployment. More unemployment, less consumption. GDP is going down. So why is there unemployment? People are closing factories. We'll come to that. Okay, right. Now, what does he say? Xi Jinping, he's washing his hands off the economy today. Xi Jinping tones down focus on China's growth targets as headwinds mount. That means he says, a growth target chale na chale, kuch farak nahi padta. Of course, you have to link this up with what I self and Rajiv Narayanan and General Dushyant Singh. Yesterday also we had talked spoke. Rajiv Narayanan I spoke last week. What we kept saying. What did we keep saying? We don't know whether Xi Jinping is in command or not. He's there. He's making statements. But is he controlling the levers? Doubtful. I did a program called the Lame Duck President. Is he a lame duck? I think so. Because suddenly this anodyne statement that it doesn't matter, take it, economy, it might not come that much. Look, the Chinese Communist Party always put down a premium on their economy. They had to achieve a GDP. A target set had to be achieved. That's not happening. They seem to be accepting it. And then everyone talks of Chinese exports, X, Y, Z, and all that. I'm okay with it. This article just came out today. What does he say? China tased from all sides, backing Beijing into an economic bind, as per analysts. They're saying that look, export got a spurt, but they're now getting cramped. People are not. There's a pushback globally. That's the thing. Now, what is the pushback globally? Everyone is raising tariffs on Chinese goods. Some here, some there. What is it? Just this is the thing. Countries are raising tariffs, which include USA, EU, Canada, as well as emerging markets like Brazil, Mexico, Turkey, India, Japan. In fact, Japan has launched an anti-dumping investigation into China. Okay. Now let's look at what has USA done. USA has put 100% duty on EVs, 50% on solar cells, and 25% on steel, aluminum, EV batteries, and key minerals. This is only the sunship. If you go into the article, there's a long list. Okay. EU, it's now on the verge of putting 35%, 35.3% tariff on EVs built in China. This is an addition to the 10% car import duty. So it's actually going to be 45%. India, we have not allowed too many EVs to get in any case. So there are no tariffs on EV. But we said tariffs between 12 to 30% on steel products coming from Vietnam and China. Why Vietnam and China? Understand this. Chinese have gone and set up their factories in Vietnam, and from Vietnam they're being exported to India, dumped into India. And India, Vietnam is our friend. Despite that, we've said no. Anything from Vietnam and China, because the origin is Chinese, right? We are now putting tariffs on it. Turkey, good friend Turkey, China's good friend. Now he's put up 40% additional tariff on vehicles, and that has become effective from July. In fact, it's already 2 months down the line. Mexico, it has levied tariffs between 5 to 50% on 544 items, such as steel and aluminum, way back in April. If Mexico doesn't do that, its NAFTA dreams are in, stake. Now, Brazil, one of their big partners in BRICS, they are also looking to raise the tariffs from the current 18 to 35%. When? By July 26. But they'll do it. If they don't, their own, industry is going to go fat. Now, what happens if all these tariffs are raised? So, if these are raised, then the costs naturally will go up for the Chinese, and the import will go down. Then they'll go and pressurize others. Others also will take this cue. So there's a domino effect. That's what worries Chinese with big economies. You're talking of India, US, Brazil. These are all big economies, large economies, Turkey. When these people, block or take measures on Chinese imports into their countries, others will follow suit. In any case, others don't have the heft. So sooner or later, your factories in China will start collapsing. And both these articles which I showed you, just 3 days old. One is today, other is day before yesterday. That's the rate at which things are moving in China. And we need to be on top of this whole game. I mean, that's why this thing. And then this fellow says exporters are now losing, right? And this, of course, a Microsoft report, but I'll go with it. China's exporters are now broke after record losses. Even if it's partially true, because it's coming from Microsoft, they're in deep trouble. Okay. Chinese retailers who were sweet on Mexico. Now, this article, if you see, everyone thought, China had done a smart move. They went to Mexico and set up the factories there, and they also flooded the local markets. Now they are getting a backlash there, right? People say, no, we don't want this China model, and the Chinese are too intrusive, throw them out. And USA said anything coming from Mexico, which has Chinese ownership, we'll tax you. So that's why Mexico has also now revisited its tariffs, everything. So that Mexico route is a problem. Now Malaysia is also backtracking. Malaysia thought it will become China plus one. What is the China plus one? Same route. A Chinese factory set up in Malaysia and then exporting to other places. USA said, take care. We'll not help you in this. We know what you're up to. So Malaysia is blocked, Vietnam is blocked, Mexico is blocked. Now officially. Then where does China go? Bangladesh. It doesn't go. No one goes to Bangladesh these days. They made it such a nice place that no one is interested in going there. So they'll go to Myanmar. Have a heart, yeah. So where can they go? Understand that the Chinese are getting contained. This is a new form of economic containment. Why are they being contained? Because otherwise they'll dump and floor the prices here and destroy local industry. Once the local industry is destroyed, then they will start jacking up the prices after 3 months or 3 years, 4 years. And that's happened with us already with API. That's why we're so dependent on API for China. Okay. Now, uh, this everything today, everything is interesting today. Okay, way allocated. Deflation remains a concern. In fact, as per many economists, China is already into deflation. Already. Now, once you get into deflation, it takes a long time to come out. And the Chinese are not changing their playbook. They're same thing. Production, manufacturing, export. Export तो बंद हो रहा है. उसके तहत backstream effect, downstream effect, or reverse effect, their manufacturing is at losses. They're going at great loss. It's one nice to say the government subsidizes. At the end, the government has to pay from somewhere. The subsidy has to be made by somewhere. It's the government's funding. The government will go poor then. Okay. And then China's consumer confidence is at a low. We all know that. It's not coming back at all. Look at this. Look at this graph of consumer confidence in China. Abhi, it's touching new lows. Unless people consume what is in the market, the economy won't grow. And that is absolutely clear. Absolutely clear. There's no way. And if people are losing their jobs, why will they consume? You see, Indian economy, we consume. Our economy is more than 50% is consumption economy, service-driven economy. It's exactly the opposite for China. China's model worked when it worked. That model is over now. Okay. And of course, you will say, look, they're coming to India, they're going to invest in India, yeah, all that. We'll discuss it. Let me see if I can discuss it on P Gurus day after tomorrow, Friday, and every Friday. This thing. Okay. Here, you know, internet, which young people see, right, is being banned in China, and even the content is being monitored and regulated. Why? They feel that a color revolution can start through the internet. And why is this happening? I mean, you have to understand. If you see the analysis, color revolutions, when they happen these days, a lot through the net, a lot through information, right? Lot through transmission, WhatsApp University, social media. Social media is a very dangerous tool today. And China is very worried about it. And this has come out incidentally after the Bangladesh monsoon revolution. And now, of course, things are coming out that the monsoon revolution, as much as the Bangladeshis think it was the monsoon revolution, the cloud seeding was done in USA. Monsoon ke liye, jab wo barish nahi hota na, you use silver iodide and do cloud seeding. What you look at cloud seeding, where aircraft go and what do they seed the clouds with? Silver iodide. I think it was that silver iodide, or rather, this monsoon seeding by USA, which triggered the monsoon revolution. But then all my Bangladeshi friends will not believe it. They'll say, no, ye to hamara hai, Jai Bangla type. But that's okay. Have a ball. Okay. Now, the local governments are in a bind. Their local governments are in the worst state. Okay. Their debt are hurting private firms, grassroots distrust, everything. Why? Because they're not able to repay. Simple as that. They've taken debts which they can't repay. And if they can't repay, everyone is in a chain. Everyone owes everything to someone. It's a huge circular debt. That local governments own the steel industry owns the construction industry. Everyone owes everyone there. The banks are in debt with the people, the property people are in debt with the banks. I mean, I don't know who's in debt with whom, how this thing, that there's a problem. Local governments are in a fix. Okay, right. Next, let's see what next. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, the Evergrande crisis is 3 years old now. Evergrande is under decimation, it's under liquidation. All that we know, but their banks are struggling. Why banks are struggling? Evergrande collapse ho sakta hai. What do the banks do with all the loans? What do banks do with all the loans? What do banks do with all the unfinished property? If I am an individual, I've taken a loan from a bank and I've got a property. I do not have a job. I'm not going to pay, and that property has not come to me. That flat has not come to me, and that Evergrande is not going to finish off that flat. I can't take that flat. I don't have a job. I can't repay my mortgage. The bank can't, has got to stuck with the loan. Evergrande is not going to finish. It's under liquidation. Where does anyone go? So a lot of people in China are having a haircut. Okay, so and this is only Evergrande. This is symptomatic of their entire property sector. I don't know how many times they're sold, but that's the fact. Okay, of course, this I've explained to you. China's August thing. It's a repetition. Sorry. Okay, property crisis doesn't seem to go anywhere. It's in fact going worse and worse and worse. Right. That's what this headline also says. It says homeowners scramble to pay off mortgages at record pace. Why? They are trying to repay off their mortgages so that कहीं तो छुटकारा मिले. They are not able to pay the mortgages. They now the choice they have is, do they, what they earn, will they have to repay the mortgage or they'll eat? So they are doing whatever they want, selling their jewelry, selling whatever the assets they want to get rid of loans. People, see, at the end of the day, the common man is someone who उसके हिंदी में बोल तो बोझ का है ना, वो उधार का बोझ है उसके ऊपर. वो बोझ सिले कहाँ जाएगा? Where does it go? Right? So there is a major problem in China. Okay. Now everyone says UN is going to take over. वो खुद के बंदे बोल रहे हैं UN can't take over. UN can't be the uh, what's that reserve currency of the world. They're saying it's far away. People don't have trust in UN. I don't trust the UN. I don't know if you trust the UN. I mean, all the best to you. So that's where, various things you put together, all those things which make a nation strong are going weaker in China. Okay. Then, of course, Apple has shifted its iPhone 16 production completely to India. So it's only now looking at whatever sales which is happening in China and be happy with it. Slowly they want to shave off. They might not fully shave off China, but no more expansion there. I told you yesterday, Microsoft, they are looking to put up 2 centers here, major in Pune, right? Ford is coming back to India. Recently, the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, he went to USA and inked the MOU with Ford there, right? That their dormant factory here is to reopen. Why? For EVs, for export. Tata's, JLR, they're also doing it. So the center of gravity is slowly shifting here. People say, "नहीं, India में नहीं होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा." Just be patient. These things take time. The gestation, semiconductors. 2 years back, not 2 years back, 1 year back, I saw a lot of articles from China and elsewhere saying semiconductors in India, no way. USA, I mean, the government has tried 3 routes, it's all failed, all that. But suddenly you see today, 1 year later, things are happening. People think, "Yo, we are setting up a fab." Even Tata's want to set up a fab here. So there is a change. All this is at China's cost. Where people were running to China are now going to come here. Okay. Now there's this. If you remember, About a month back, I did this video that China's economy is getting Japanified. I spoke of the lost decade, where there's going to be a long lost decade. Decade means dasal. So China is entering its lost decade now. That's what I said 1 month back, and I maintain it. And you read this article. Go to this, type out this heading, and read the article. The heading says it isn't becoming Japanified as yet. But when you go into the article and read it, he is just talking what I spoke. कि भैया Japanify होने वाला है. You see, what is Japanification? Japan was having a fantastic manufacturing output. Okay. And that manufacturing output was one day boxed in by USA and said, sorry. What did USA do? They took the dollar off, made it float. Okay, they forced the yen to float. So overnight, the devaluation of the dollar killed everything. Overnight. And from then to now, and then their population also fell. They went into deflation. It's only now, after 20 years, though they say it's lost decade, it's about over 20 years. Now they're coming out of the whole story. And that is their problem. That is their problem. Okay. Okay. Now, all of us would have heard last about 2 weeks back, a lot of about 50, 60 African leaders went to China, and they were, feted and meted and whatever they did with Xi Jinping. And Xi Jinping said, we'll help China, Africa out, and we'll give debt and all that. So an African has written, see, what he writes is, as it is, Africa cannot repay debt to China. Now China is imposing more debt on Africa. How can we repay it? Right? And that second debt will only repay the first debt. And that cycle will go on. He says, look, African leaders, some of them are started realizing that this is not feasible. So we have to rethink the whole thing. Okay. So that's a issue. And then universities. Look at what's happening in their universities. China's foreign joint venture universities feel chill as political control tightens. There are about 30, 40 universities which have set up there. From Chicago University, Liverpool University, from USA, UK, yahan wahan se. They set up joint universities out there. One of the underlying things about this setting up the universities was they teach the Western mode of education to Chinese, then democratize Chinese. That was the aim. That was the underlying motive. And it succeeded to a large extent, mind you. Okay. Till Xi Jinping came. Xi Jinping has now tightened controls over them. So now they can only teach his thought. His thought is paramount in all these joint venture universities. Now ये अमेरिका वाले हाथ मल रहे हैं कि भैया क्या हो गया. But what is happening is that there's a fear psychosis in China. That's one part of the story. The second part of the story is these foreign joint venture universities, they will not go beyond a point if there are political controls over them. So that whole story of, upping their education and increasing their scientific talent and, new productive forces and technology, all that will come under the hammer. People say they have tremendous universities. I agree with it. But all this inflow of knowledge, China was getting two ways. One is they, brought in these foreign universities into China and sent a whole lot of people to China to study. Now, both are getting cut. USA is having a problem, US universities, because all these Chinese students are not paying because they would pay us. The fees and all that. And now if these joint ventures are also there, what happens to USA, UK, forget it. I'm more interested in China. So China, education, technology, all that is now big talk. And these are all long term gestation periods. And don't think that the Chinese have mastered everything. They have not. Okay. Uh, they're still far away from many things in terms of education and technology. Copycat, yes, not otherwise. Okay. Yeah. If everything was, going as if everything was going fine or not fine, whichever way you look at it, one more PLA general sacked. He was in the Western Theatre Command. He was part of the National People's Congress and not the Central Military Commission, a high up. Now he's also sacked. Slowly, you see that there is a similarity of what's happening. At some point of time, you would say, "Look, when will all this stop?" It's not stopping. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, so you look at this fool. He's supposed to be, this Asian traveler. He says he's a diplomat, yeah, who and all that. And he gets down to this. China is really Bap of India, remember 1962. Arey, mere bhai, Asian traveler, remember 1967, remember Doklam, remember 2020. The Chinese know it. You buffoons will only be where you are because you don't know how to analyze the strength of people. ठीक है तो आप ऐसे hate filled, this is what I call hate filled talk and thinking, दिमाग बंद करके बात करना एशियन ट्रैवलर से सीखो. Okay, now again, old people, they are in pain, so the demographics backs is coming back. Now what's China done? China has increased the retirement age. Why? The aging population, they can't help. Now the problem is all, very simple. There, because of the aging population and retirement, the way it was, they couldn't afford their pension. So you raised 5 years retirement age. So that gives you some workforce. But they're all aged workforce, right? These are desperate measures by China to resolve their demographic thing. Right. Now here I go. This Asian traveler fellow is talking too much, so I am banning him. Whether he comes back or not. Thank you. Okay. Now there's one economist. He's gone viral in China by speaking the truth. What's happening in China? He's a young chap, probably intelligent guy. Yeah, he would be an intelligent guy. He spoke, and he was supposed to be an upcoming economist. Now he has his whole story has gone viral. I don't know whether he will survive or not. That's a different story. We'll see. Okay. And then people who are educated are not getting jobs. I told you unemployment earlier. This is it. Unless they have experience, they are not getting jobs. Unless they have a job, they won't get experience. It's a catch-22 situation and happiness. And to their misery now, God has come into the story. Right? They've had a huge problem with Philippines. Right? Quad now wants to do patrolling in South China Sea. But this is a story which I'll take it forward later on. I've just tried to put across what all is happening in China today. Now, once Quad enters and does joint patrolling and all that, you will see militarization of the South China Sea. And South China Sea is the third, hotspot. I've always been maintaining Ukraine, Gaza, and West Asia, and South China Sea. Now, no one talks of Taiwan these days. Everyone talks of South China Sea. In fact, today also there's an article in Foreign Affairs which says South China Sea could get into a major problem, a war. If war between USA and China is likely to happen, it'll be in South China Sea. And everyone says Quad has become an economic thing. It's about social issues and all that. No. The basic of Quad is military to military exercises, where it started, disaster management, everything. So you see, court is now said we'll do, patrolling of South China Sea. Then what happens? We'll see how the story unfolds. Like I know today everyone is looking at the pagers and all that. Pagers will come out, don't worry. But this is the next developing story, and this is the flashpoint. Okay, and then okay, yeah, this is the same thing again. I don't know why this has got repeated. This is an interesting thing I must put across to you. Swedish pension funds have quietly sold a vast majority of its stocks in Chinese company over the last 12 months. This is by a Swedish guy. See, let me explain. Uh, all the pension funds were investing in Chinese stocks in a big way. Sweden has quietly sold it off over a 1 year period. They don't want risk. That's what he says. The risk has simply become too great, says the head of Swedish Premium Pension State Investment Fund. Period. This is an article. Unfortunately, it is in Swedish. Otherwise, I would have explained to you what the whole story is. Right? So, this is the knockout punch. And this is not only one. A lot of people are now exiting China and being happy about it elsewhere. And they're seeking greener pastures. So what do you see overall? The debt problem has not gone. Manufacturing is not going anywhere, right? China is being contained in that. Consumption is not going anywhere. Unemployment has gone up, right? And consumption, of course, is not there at all because when there are no jobs, how will there be consumption, right? Demographics are worsening, and there's no doubt. And China doesn't have an answer for this. Their GDP is not going to come through the way they thought. And Mr. Xi Jinping is already pointing fingers elsewhere, and he might not be in control. So where does that leave us? It leaves us the alternate magnet, which I've explained to you. People will start coming to us over the next 5-10 year period. And this is my thinking is, look, all these points are for the past 1 week, the news coming from China. But if you analyze it over the longer horizon, there are issues coming up. There are issues in Tibet which are coming up, which I'll have a separate session. Because for the first time, I saw someone saying separatism in Tibet should be squashed by a senior CCP functionary, which I have not seen for the past 3 years. The first time it has come now. Why? So there's a problem there. There's an issue of climate change in Tibet. So there are 3-4 issues in Tibet, right? And then in Xinjiang also there are issues. So all this, I'll have a separate episode because Tibet means I have to cover India, Tibet, and China separate episode. But you look at the other things. A lot of people are now gravitating to India, and it will happen over the next 5-10 years. Okay, I did mention at the beginning that on one dimension China is going down, and the other dimension China is going up. Where is it going down? It's going down internally, it's going down economically. There's no doubt about it. It might not recover. If it recovers, we don't know when. Right? Domestic politics are not anymore clean. Their PLA is almost leaders and all that are a problem. On the other hand, its ambitions are not toned down. They still want a Sinocentric world order. Xi Jinping still wants something great to happen. They still want to knock off uh, America from its perch. Now, they are at odds. How will that meet? It can meet only through war. Period. Mercantilism. What is the mercantile attitude? What did England do when they came to India? or the East India Company. They came and they forced the gun on us and said, trade with us. They went to China, did the same thing virtually. I mean, the whole history is different. China is trying to will do the same thing. It has to go. It has built an army. It's a huge army, whether we like it or not. It might be a useless army against India, but it's damn good against smaller countries around or in Africa and all that. Oh, there are issues in that, but I'll discuss that also separately. But this could lead to a war. If everything which is happening in India is at the cost of China, is at the cost of China, then there is a China will have to do something. So, what will China do? That's the issue. Is this newfound love which is coming out, India, China, bye bye, Dubara, is it right or wrong? What do we do about it? And hopefully, if I let me see if I can cover the India-China affair or the issue day after tomorrow when I speak with Mr. Shriya here. But tomorrow, all those people who are, Bangladeshis, I'll give you another thing where when I talk to, you know, uh, the India Foundation director, we'll talk about recent developments in Bangladesh and the rise of what's this Jamaat-e Islami. Okay, so with this, I mean today's thing I'm finished. I request all of you to subscribe to the Gunner Shot channel. Right, if you like it, please press the like button, and I would like request you also to be members of this channel. Right, I find that members are not being they're not renewing their membership. Please join me as a member, because joining me as a member doesn't give me money. Let me be upfront about it. It helps girls get their education. All the money from membership and supers and all that goes to them for their school fees, right? And and I'll be very honest with you, my this channel doesn't give me that much money, you know, always. Uh, so whatever money I have, I give it to them. That's about all. That's how it is, right? So I'll take some questions, and then we'll see where we go from here.